Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Questionable Treatments. I, Ryan, am going to be tormented by whatever my wife,
Kim,
has dug up on whatever we're talking about today. Something terrible, criminal, questionable.
yeah, all of them, all of the above. Today we're going to be talking about Walter E. Fernald State School in Waltham, Massachusetts. I still cannot say that state name.
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be doing it a little bit different. Since this is named after a person, I am going to first go into the history of the person.
Oh, yeah, the rest of them are named after the locations, weren't they?
Yeah.
The Allegheny Mountains or
the
town
state.
or the state. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm going to go into the history of the school. Then I will go into the medical experiments that they went through, and then the patient experiences. And then I'm just going to give you a list of the abuse that was done there. It is all very horrifying.
A rap sheet.
Yep. It's all very horrifying. I don't want to traumatize you like I have been traumatized, so we're going to try to do it this way.
Yeah, peek behind the curtains while Kim was doing her research. We have a little home office that we both have a desk in, and she was constantly stopping, going, I can't keep reading this.
It's horrifying. It really is. This is so far the worst of basically just abuse that happened that's documented.
Yeah, as opposed to, like we keep alluding to, the abuse that they talk about on ghost hunter shows, where they talk about what's alleged to have happened without citing any sources.
Yeah. But if you're interested in this topic, this state school, there is a book that I read that talks about the abuse that patients went through. It's called The State Boys Rebellion by Michael D'Antonio. It is really good. I learned some history that really makes me question staying in the United States, but who knows? So to start off with the history of the person the school was named after. Dr. Walter Edward Fernald was born in 1859 in Kittery, Maine. He taught at a country school after finishing his childhood schooling and while going to med school. So he taught and went to med school at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fernald graduated from Medical School of Maine in Bowdoin. How was it Baldwin? Bowdoin, Maine in 1881. After graduating from med school, Dr. Fernald went to work at a state hospital in Wisconsin. So he worked there from 1882 to 1887 and gained experience so he could later become the superintendent for the Massachusetts State School for Idiotic and Feeble-Minded. In 1893, he officially moved the school from South Boston to Waltham, which he oversaw the construction of all the buildings. There was 70 plus buildings by the end of it. There were 70 plus buildings by the end of it. I realized it in my head.
We know. I'm going to leave this in because we know she keeps doing it. So if anybody out there is noticing.
Yeah, I can't English well. I went to a very small school that did not have a good English program.
School's very highly rated. You stop blaming the school.
Okay, to continue, he made sure all the patients had organization, schooling, training, and care. He oversaw teachers, physicians, medical students, psychologists, social workers, nurses, and attendants. He collaborated with others. He collaborated with others to study the pathological anatomy.
Was this a farm school? So they could have udders?
Okay. He collaborated with others to study the pathological anatomy. Why did I not?
I don't know.
Pathological anatomy of feeble-minded brains, and he believed the feeble-mindedness was not being treated early enough for treatment to actually work. At the time, it was common practice for family physicians to tell families their children would grow out of the symptoms of feeble-mindedness. Just give it some time, so it'll go away.
Does feeble-mindedness translate to anything recognizable today, or just kids kind of slow, developmentally delayed, a little dumb?
A little slower, so developmentally delayed. There's programs now that you can put your kid into if they have that will help. I was in one of them when I was in school. As you can tell, I still can't English. But there's a lot of programs now for schools and early childhood education to help bring them up.
They're concept of feeble-mindedness still translates to something meaningful today. It's
Yes.
not like sort of a made-up term.
No. No, but they
It's one of
also
those ones where they've changed the name and updated it over the years.
Yeah, but feeble-mindedness also, if you were from a poor family, if you were from the rural area, if you were Black, an immigrant, you were feeble-minded
Just by default?
just by default. Sex out of wedlock, feeble-minded.
Hmm.
Anything under the sun that they thought was abnormal, feeble-minded immediately.
Okay, well.
Okay, to his belief, the symptoms never went away and they would just end up in an asylum for long-term care. To combat this, Fernald wrote medical papers and articles for newspapers about the practical problems of the management of feeble-minded and the social aspects of this problem. So, social aspects being like alcoholism, drug use, sex out of wedlock, that kind of stuff. He tried to teach others we needed to have sympathy for the feeble-minded, otherwise these people would never be able to be fully treated. So if you just threw treatment at them without being kind, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
He believed each person in the state school had his or her own special needs and limitations that needed to be met. During his life, he added to the study of social problems like alcoholism, venereal diseases, and so on that caused feeble-mindedness. He was in favor and pushed the practice of separating delinquents and the feeble-minded, which somehow showed the relationship between the two. Later, he believed separation was not the whole solution, but also adding early detection, schooling, training, education, and educating the public was the real solution.
Educating the public
Of what?
about feeble-mindedness or just to eliminate it?
About feeble-mindedness, how to be kind and, like, bring them into the social group, what could possibly cause it.
So, yeah.
Not a lot of people really
Like when
talk
we go
about
to
it,
your
though.
hometown and I try to be nice to all the bumpkins,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well,
Bless your heart.
bless your heart. All the farmers. In 1924, Dr. Fernald was doing a lesson to physicians on the treatment of the feeble-minded when he started to show symptoms of the illness that killed him. We don't know what that illness was. It wasn't documented anywhere. He died later the same year on November 26, 1924, in his home in Waverly, Massachusetts. Which is a 10-minute drive from Waltham.
Interesting, so they were real close.
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour walk, too.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know how I'll cut that, but I just wanted to confirm that Waltham is where Waltham watches are from. Like, I actually have a Waltham, I might have 2 Waltham watches, but, like, Elgin watches are from Elgin, Illinois.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They're not.
Yeah, so Waltham's from Waltham. What a
Okay.
surprise.
So
We need to find the coolest town name we possibly can
and make something
and
from
make
it.
something there and just name it after that. Oh, what's that little town we passed? Funk's Grove? Heading towards Chicago?
Yeah,
Yeah. What could you make in Funk's Grove?
deodorant.
Weed. A dispensary. That's the answer for everything. All right, sorry, go on.
Now that you kind of know a little bit of history about Walter, does he sound like a bad dude?
Not explicitly. Not so far.
He sounds like an okay man who's
Sounds
trying to help
normal.
people.
Yeah, sounds like he's trying to promote understanding instead of intolerance of some mental condition. And
Yeah. So he's going to be in our little bit because he was a superintendent, but we're going to find out that he wasn't all that good. So now going into the history of the state school. The original founder of the original school was Samuel Gridley Howe. This is the oldest state school to serve people with developmental disabilities in the Western Hemisphere. It opened in 1848, so super early, and it was located in South Boston at 200 Trapelo Road. The mission for the school was to make clean, productive, and responsible citizens of high-functioning youth. This was believed by the first superintendent, Samuel Howe, and the second superintendent, Edward Jarvis. The education at the school included schooling, like in a typical school, trading, and shoe repair. Trading?
yeah, trading you for the trades. Like,
But I said trading, not training.
oh, I
Trade,
missed that.
training, and shoe repair, broom making, rug making.
Rug making?
Yeah, you know the ones with like the thin fabric that's weaved?
Yeah,
Those.
my grandma had those.
So did my
This
mom.
sounded like some kind of weird Dr. Seuss rhyme or the way your cadence it started
Yeah.
to.
Basket weaving, knitting, and sewing. Other studies included housekeeping, music therapy, dancing, and athletics. In the 1870s, the school became pressured by the state and public to take in and accommodate for adults with chronic disabilities that needed more custodial care. Do you know what custodial care means?
I mean, a custodian is somebody who cares for your needs entirely. So that'd be like invalids.
Somebody who needs total care and
Right.
cannot go back to home.
Right. Like hospice or a
Yeah,
nurse's home or something
like
like
a
that.
chronic
Yeah.
case. With the rise of patients being institutionalized, more room was needed. In comes the person the school was later named after, Walter E. Fernald, the third superintendent. So in 1887, 18 acres were the first bit of land that was purchased from the Bird Estate in Waltham, Massachusetts for $25,000. What is that in today's money? 1887, $25,000.
8 to 900,000.
Damn. Construction was started, and 3 more farms were bought from Baldwin Estates, Lawrence Estates, and Warren Estates. So these were all farms, like family farms, with the total acreage of these 4 farms being over 160 acres. Even though the school was not intended to be a working farm, there were crops grown and cattle bred and milked. Buying land continued until the early 1900s when there was finally a total of over 180 acres. The property was between Trapelo Road and Waverly Oaks Road. The mission of the school also changed at this time from care and teaching to long-term imprisonment and science.
That's a significant swing
Yeah.
in your mission statement. That's bigger than Google removing "Don't be evil"
Yeah.
from their motto or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it was in fancier terms, but that's basically what it was.
Yeah. From rehabilitation to just storage
Yeah.
of
And using them as science projects.
as guinea pigs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. I wonder how they slipped that in without. Well, I guess there wasn't so much scrutiny back then.
No,
It wouldn't
everybody
have been
wanted them to be,
published. There wasn't a website where they're trying to sneak in this update.
but everybody wanted them to be locked away, so they would have been happy. Nobody wanted them out on the street. The government didn't, the state didn't, and the population didn't. Okay, so the population of the state school continued to grow as the views of protecting the gene pool from people of color, immigrants, Jews, Southern Europeans, the developmentally disabled, and the rural poor. That's like everybody. It's everybody but the rich.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, IQs are going down for the first time since they've been recording average intelligence like this next generation or whatever. I don't. Generations are generally defined as like a group with a similar upbringing or centered around something that was very formative in their younger years.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't always translate that well to medical trends, but I've seen studies showing that IQs are going down.
Yeah.
And I really don't think it's because of genetics, but I bet if you brought one of these people to today, they would go, look, 20, 30 years ago, you shut down all the asylums.
We need them
Now
now.
look, everybody's getting dumb.
Yeah.
It's not TikTok rotting your brain and Fortnite and
Yeah.
all that other, Coco Melon and
Although out
junk
of
that you got your kids watching. It's
the generation that our daughter's in, I think we're the outlier parents because our daughter doesn't have an iPad.
no, she doesn't have any tech of her own.
The only thing she has is a TV in her room.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't seem to care about it.
No, she plays like a normal child should play.
Yeah, she wants to come and climb on me while I'm trying to work from home.
Me too. Drives me nuts. Okay, so during this time of protect the gene pool, the IQ test was created.
Oh, I was relevant without knowing it.
Yeah. It was created by Alfred Bennett and his colleague Simon. I don't know his last name. In 1904 and refined by Louis Terman, a professor at Stanford University. So the final IQ after it was revised was called the Stanford Bennett test, and it was supposed to make it possible to identify the high-grade defectives.
Oh.
Do you know how IQ score is calculated?
No.
I
I mean, I
found
know
this
the
one out.
average it's meant to be a moving average where the average is 100.
Okay, so let's see if I
And
can
I
get
know
you.
that Forrest Gump missed getting into school by 5 measly points.
Okay, let's see if I can get you to understand this. How the score was calculated. mental age divided by actual age, then multiplied by 10. So you would take the test, and however many questions you got right was put into a group of an average 100 children of that same age group that got the same questions right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your mental age.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so example of this equation. A 13-year-old female named Bertha took the test. I mean, came up with that because I really want that rabbit. Took the test and scored the mental age of a 10-year-old. I have this backwards. Why do I have this backwards? Okay, so you're going to have to do tests because I put this backwards. Get your calculator out because I don't know this one by heart.
Okay.
Okay, so she's 13 years old and she scored the average age of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you would take mental age of 10 divided by actual age 13 times 100.
So her IQ would be 76.9.
76. She'd be normal.
Is that within the normal range?
That's within the normal range.
Where do you hit mentally feeble?
It's coming out. Bennett created a number range of the level of retardation. 140 and above was genius. You're a genius. Shannon really thinks she is, but she
My
ain't.
level of retardation is genius.
Genius. 120 to 140, very superior. 110 to 120, superior. 90 to 110 was average or normal. 80 to 90 was dullness. 70 to 80 was borderline deficient.
But you just said...
Hold on. 51 to 70 was moron. They actually didn't have a term for this, so Bennett came up with the term from a Latin word.
Is moron instead of a Latin word?
Moron is from a Latin word, yeah.
Oh.
Because they didn't have a term for it.
Isn't virus Latin for poison?
Yeah. 26 to 50 was imbecile, and 0 to 25 was idiot. Anything
0 to 25.
0 to 25, yeah.
Could you blink and breathe at the same time with an IQ of 25?
I don't think so. Anything above 70 was considered normal if you're going with to get into a state school. So if you're above 70, you ain't getting into it because you're normal.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. That's their admissions cutoff.
Yes.
You might be smart enough to figure out how to escape and tell people what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Any person or child, so they did this to people too, who were like arrested, who seemed like they were feeble-minded, they would give this test to. And if
does it still work that way, the IQ testing? What if you're old?
Yeah. Still
what if you're like 100 and you test as like a 50-year-old? That would, by the math, give you a low IQ.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a different
The
formula.
IQ test was proven to be not good many times.
Oh, okay.
It don't work, but people still use it for some reason.
Yeah, I know. I took one in school and I don't remember what my score was. It was relatively high. And then everybody does the online ones where you always get like 120 or 130 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm a fucking moron. So.
Okay, so any person or child that scored under 70 was labeled a retard and institutionalized. The first test focused on attention, memory, and problem solving, which was not taught in schools. This test was 30 questions and asked things like, what is the difference between things, follow the object with your eyes, etc.
You know how I said I wanted to open a play place for adults? You said a phrase that would be a good name for it. Levels of retardation.
Levels of retardation.
I don't know if I'll leave that in, but...
Okay. Remember, the first test was published in 1904? It was called the Bennett-Simon test.
Okay.
The revised test was published in 1916, and that was called the Stanford-Bennett Intelligence Test. The first test was just a score that was added up. The revised version had the equation that I just went over.
Yeah. Tried to average it.
This test was used for everything from joining the military to being accepted into America as an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Most countries do, or at least did until fairly recently, have requirements for intelligence, education. Like some of them, try to have measures of morality and things like that. Try to, I guess, get an understanding of your values. But
personally, I think we should go back to it. But who am I?
Yeah.
Probably gonna cut that out.
No,
it's okay.
No, I'll leave it in because you're a bigot.
I am a bigot. Here is a 15-question example of an IQ test to get into the military. So go ahead and try to answer these if you can.
Oh, okay.
How many are 30 men and 7 men?
Like 37 men?
I guess. There's no answers to these.
30 men and 7 men?
Yeah,
Yeah.
37, I guess.
I would say and is addition.
Oh, you're gonna like this one. Are cats useful animals because they catch mice, or because they are gentle, or because they are afraid of dogs?
They're not useful at all because they will claw your face off when you're sleeping.
Is leather used for shoes because it is produced in all countries, or because it wears well, or because it is an animal product?
It wears well and it's a common material. Yeah.
Do
These are just
these?
like basic logic questions. These give a lot of leeway for the tester
Yeah,
to go like, he's kind of dumb, but he's real big. He'd probably
yeah,
be a good
yeah.
soldier.
And you could see how this would trip a kid up.
Mm-hmm.
Do these two words mean the same or opposite? Wet, dry. You're supposed to answer.
Oh, I would think those are opposites.
Do these two words mean the same or opposite? In, out.
I believe they mean the opposite.
Do these two words mean the same or opposite? Hill, valley.
Those seem to be perfectly opposite.
Rearrange these groups of words into a sentence and tell whether it is true or false statements. Lions are strong. Nope. Lions strong are. I gave it away.
Your dyslexia put it back together.
Uh-huh.
Lions are strong, and then judge if it's true or false.
Yep.
True, I suppose.
Houses people in live.
People live in houses.
True or false?
Everywhere but LA, yeah, generally.
Day there in our week 8A.
What?
Days there in our week 8A.
Oh, there are 8 days in a week, so that'd be false.
Leg flies one have only.
Flies have one leg only. Incorrect.
That's called false. Write the next two numbers in the series. So you're just going to say it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8, 9.
In this series, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
40, 45.
In this series, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
2, 1. It's not even like a Fibonacci sequence or anything? No. Okay.
Nope. From the 4 words in heavy type, select one that is related to the third word in italics as the second is to the first.
No, we can't do that one because it requires formatting, which I can't see.
I'll tell you. So, gun, shoots, knife, run, cut, hit, or bird.
Bird?
Yeah, you're supposed to select one of those 4 words.
I know, to associate with the
knife, yes.
Why would bird be it?
I don't know, because retards might select it.
Retard. I would probably go with cut, but I don't know. Bird knife.
Bird knife?
Knife bird.
Is that your bird? Can I pet it? Does it bite?
Is that your bird? Can I touch it? Does it bite?
Ear, hear, eye, table, hand, see, play.
See.
Okay. So that's the 15 question test, IQ test that you would have to take to get into the military in like the 1920s.
That's pretty bad. You could definitely answer those right and still not know how to load or point a gun.
Yeah. But these questions are very similar to the questions that children would get to be determined if they're retarded or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it could trip up a kid if they have never gone to school.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
If you don't know how to read because you've never gone to school, if you don't know math because you've never gone to school.
So yeah, you could totally answer those questions and still not be a functional soldier.
Yeah.
You would be a bullet sponge.
Yeah. Which is good for the first line.
Mm.
Now that you have seen the test, do you think there are any problems with it that is not being addressed? For children in particular. Maybe we went over many of them, but.
Problems that are not being addressed by that questionnaire?
By giving these children the IQ test.
Right. Any of them.
And any problem that you can think of, the first one that comes to mind.
That those tests are kind of worthless for telling you exactly what the deficiency of the child is?
Yep. Ding, 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 you win a brand new car. Too bad I don't got money for that. Many of the children that would be imprisoned in these institutions were from broken or abusive families that have not been to school ever, or they have off and on. There are stories of children that would try to trick or argue with staff or teachers to show they are not retarded and do not deserve to be there. Didn't do shit.
Yeah, they could probably outsmart the teachers all day.
Yeah.
They would say that was some kind of psychosis.
There was only one kid documented that got released because of this.
Mm.
And he's the only one. And it's because he kept answering harder and harder and harder questions because his parents died, but he went to school. So the
How
only
did he wind up there then?
because they didn't have a foster family to take him.
Oh, so he just went there by default?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
In 1919, there was a law passed in the state requiring an examination with the IQ test of all children to help recognize who was retarded and needed to be in an institution. If you were in the foster care system and you were being moved from a family that was having problems with you, then you would be required to take an IQ test to see if you would need to be put in a state school. Now, do you
I don't like the look you have.
or anyone listening remember what movement was going on at the same time as the IQ test?
Eugenics?
The eugenics movement.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Our dear old doctor, Walter Fernald, who we thought was not that bad of a guy, was on the board of Eugenics Society. So he pushed.
Didn't know there was a eugenics society.
Me either until I read that. So he pushed to sterilize people. But he later renounced the spot and practice and promoted strict segregation, which caused rapid growth. Now we welcome the fourth superintendent, Dr. Randon Green, who also continued Dr. Fernald's mission. Randon. Yep. Not Brandon. Randon.
I was about to say like Brandon without the...
B. Yeah, like Brian without the B.
Well, or like the guy I used to work with, Brandon, who they gave the wrong name tag, or they messed up his name tag and said Grandin, and he just worked as Grandin for years.
The population continued to grow and funding decreased caused by the war. So this was during World War II, which also caused staffing issues. So the school had to rely on the free labor of the high-functioning inmates to take care of the grounds and other patients. So
standard, that's what we keep seeing.
yeah.
People who are smart enough to work at the facility, meaning they probably should not be there.
Nope.
Ridiculous.
Yep. So they had forced labor. Male patients would have to do the heavy labor and supervise other male patients. And the female patients would do the housekeeping and feeding the inmates that were not able to do so themselves. I use inmates and patients interchangeably. Patient I'm used to, inmates is the term at the time. They mean the same thing.
At least in that context, yeah.
Yeah. Of what little staff there was, most of them used abuse as a way to control the inmates. Some staff used the patients to get out the sick, sadistic fantasies they wanted to do to other people, everything ranging from horrible abuse to rapes. All of the children at the school were not fed enough, and it caused many of the patients to die from malnutrition. A lot of patients also died from sepsis, from bed sores.
Were they in bed because they couldn't get up, or were they in bed because they were like strapped to it?
Restrained.
As in some of the other ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones who were so disabled they couldn't move were taken better care of the ones who were high functioning.
What?
If you were crippled
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't get out of bed, you were generally better cared for than the ones who could walk.
Okay.
There's a lot of children that died from blunt force trauma.
So they're just beating kids to death.
Beating kids to
Starving
death, yeah.
kids to death.
Yep.
Just driving them to their beds till they die.
Yep. On top of the abuse, malnutrition, sexual harassment, rapes, poor education, and forced labors, these children would be selected to be in the science club. Doesn't sound so bad, right?
Sounds like where you build the tornado in the bottle thing, or
Yeah,
a model volcano, but I'm guessing you're the experiment.
basically. Well, it wasn't that bad for kids. Other than being part of a medical experiment without the knowledge or consent from themselves or their families. We will go more into the science club in a little bit. Reports from the 1950s did not reflect what was really happening at the school, which is not surprising because the superintendent at the time, Dr. Green, had nothing to do with the care of the patients. There were many employees that stated the superintendent didn't care what the employees did to get control as long as it was not illegal. Joke's on him, because it was. And he still didn't care. He was so absent from the school, many of the patients did not know what he looked like. They only knew his name. The school continued to run this way until the 1970s when the downfall really started to happen. In 1972, parents, guardians, and advocates of the disabled started to sue the Commonwealth, which is like the overseer of the state school and
Yeah.
asylums, in federal court. This caused the government to get involved with decreasing the population, increasing the funding, requiring the amount of staff that needed to be on site, and requiring the better treatment of patients. Many of the patients were moved to community residential facilities, and the care of the remaining patients were improved greatly. Several large cottage-style single-story buildings were built to provide intimate care and home-like feel for the remaining patients. That was a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm.
In 1979, the population was decreased to 161 patients, which was less than half from the 1960s. In 2005, there was only around 250 patients, and it closed in 2014. All the buildings were torn down, and it was turned into a recreational center. Okay, so I want to do something a little different, which I think will help us understand what the science club was better, and it also a little bit more interaction. So science club was the name the administrative employees gave the medical experiments to mislead the patients and the families.
Right.
So what we're going to do is I wrote down questions for you that I'm going to answer.
Okay, Kimbo. Who was conducting the experiments?
MIT radioactive unit. So Massachusetts.
Institute of Technology, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What was used? Your question just says what was used?
Yep. So the most common, the one that's well known, is the radioactive iron and calcium tracers.
Okay. Don't know what that means. Who funded these experiments?
Quaker Oats.
Quaker Oats
Quaker Oats in the state.
funded radioactive tracers?
Yep.
Okay.
You'll find out why.
And why?
A study of the grains Quaker Oats used showed high levels of phytate, which was supposed to slow or stop the absorption of iron and or calcium, whereas Quaker Oats' biggest competitor did not have the same levels. Question for you. In the 1940s and 50s, do you know who the biggest competitor of Quaker Oats was?
No.
Just take a wild guess.
This is an oatmeal company, like an oat type. Kellogg's?
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat is a company?
It was.
Okay. Isn't cream of wheat just like something old people eat? I
It's
feel like I've seen
it's an
that
oat
on
company.
Cracker Barrel menus.
Yeah. Number 5.
Yeah. How were these studies conducted? What were they doing?
Boys between the ages of 10 and 17 were given radioactive iron and calcium tracers through ingestion and injection.
Okay.
It was done in 3 phases. Phase 1 was done in 1946. Radioactive iron tracers were ingested. 17 boys were given large amounts of Quaker oatmeal and cream of wheat oatmeal that was coated with radioactive iron tracers. The tracers were given 7 times in a 40-week period. Then there would be blood drawn at staggered times within the first 24 hours, so that way they didn't have to stick the boys a bunch of time. And then once a day on days 2 through 5, then weekly for the next month, then a month later for the final blood draw before they do it all again. Phase 2 was 1950 to 1953. This was radioactive calcium tracers that were ingested, where 36 boys were given milk that was laced with radioactive calcium tracers. This was to see if there was a change with the different cereals that would slow or stop calcium absorption. There were 2 groups. Group 1, 19 boys, and Group 2, 17 boys. This was in different years this happened. At different times would be given 2 milks with the tracer 3 weeks apart. Blood draws and urine stool collection would follow the same schedule as Phase 1. Phase 3 was the same year as Phase 2. 9 boys were injected with radioactive calcium tracers, and it could be the same boys who ingested it. And this was done through the vein to see what happened to the calcium when it was in the bloodstream. The blood draws and urine/stool collection was only for the first 5 days following the same schedule as the other 2 phases. Number 6.
So, to put it more plainly, they're testing the absorption of calcium and iron through ingestion with the different types of oats
Yes.
versus an intravenous injection.
Yes. Well, the intravenous injection was really to see what happened to calcium.
One just in the blood.
Yeah.
But
It's
they're
blood.
just wanting to see how much of this material ends up in the person.
Yes.
And they do that by these radioactive tracers that leave a radioactive trace in your body when you absorb it.
Or through waste if you don't.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They're seeing how much of it passes, how much of it stays.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that actually kind of seems reasonable if you're talking alpha radiation or something non-harmful, but I don't know if alpha radiation can last long enough to do anything like that or even be detected. You can block alpha radiation so easily.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the different types of radiation and shielding in engineering chemistry in college, and you could block alpha radiation with a couple sheets of paper if the sample was small enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Were there ever adults used in these experiments, or was it always kids?
Yes. One
One adult?
adult.
Is that because they happened to become an adult while they were at the institute?
Yes. The only name I'm known by is number 57.
Like
Just,
a hitman,
yeah, kind of insensitive. He was 21.
like number 5 on Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. So you heard me almost yell out a weird thing that happened to this kid, which I'm going to go into.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the calcium injection, but it was with a larger amount of tracers than the other kids because, he's bigger.
Yeah.
He followed the same protocols as phase 3, but there was one difference. In the first 24 hours, he had 9 blood draws.
9 blood draws?
Yeah. That's what you heard me go, 9.
Yeah.
And I thought the GTT, glucose tolerance testing, when I was pregnant was too many blood draws.
How much blood are they drawing at a time back then?
Think like 2 vials.
What is that, like 2 ounces per vial or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. So
It's not a
I'm
lot.
just thinking back then versus now and the efficiency of tests. Like,
It's not a lot, but he
they're like,
looked...
oh yeah, we'll do a quick blood draw. And they're just like filling up a kitchen pot every time.
No. It wasn't a lot.
We're going to stir this blood and have our resident alchemist taste it and determine what you got going on, because we're still pretty much in pseudoscience territory back then.
Yeah. So the reason I'm astounded by 9 blood draws, he would look like a druggie by the end of
meal
this.
marks all over him.
Yeah. Do you know how bruised he'd be? How painful his arms would be?
Yeah, that'd be pretty rough.
You want to know something disgusting?
No?
In order to test the stool, they used to mix it with water and stir it around and make a slurry. And then they would dehydrate it and test that. The urine, they would just use like a radioactive meter.
Yeah.
But they would have to make a slurry for the stool. So that way they can spread it out and see.
Gross.
Yeah. That was quite
Makes
gross.
sense,
But
but it's still gross.
yeah. 7?
Were there other experiments being conducted in this science club?
Yes. In the 1950s, around the same time as the Quaker Oats studies, there was another study done by MIT, shocker, involving 21 students, male and female, ages from 5 to 26, with Down syndrome, to see how the thyroid would metabolize iodine. Somehow, they got 7 other parents to be involved. 5 mothers, 2 fathers. I don't know how. I guess they're retards too. The test subjects would take radioactive iodine 131 orally, it's like in a pill, at the hours of 2, 6, and 24 after ingestion. Patients would lie on their back, it's called supine, and a radioactive meter would be held over the area of the thyroid to see if the isotopes were in that area. Blood would be drawn to measure the amount of radiated iodine still in the blood, or if there was any hormones produced from the iodine that was in the blood.
Okay.
So really they did both, but they were testing how much of either.
This is riveting. I'm so excited.
The blood would be drawn at the intervals of 24, 48, 72, and 96 hours post-administration. Urine would also be collected 24 to 48 hours post-administration to see how much waste there was that held the radioactive iodine.
This is compelling stuff.
Isn't it?
Urine collection, poop slurries.
Science isn't pretty, man.
What's the point?
The point is to see if Quaker Oats oatmeal is dangerous. And
Wait, what does that have to do with iodine in your thyroid?
Well, I thought you meant the point of
Oh, I mean
all the
all of it.
studies.
Yeah.
To see if Quaker Oats was dangerous.
Is there iodine in Quaker Oats?
No. The iodine was to see if Down syndrome would cause the thyroid not to metabolize iodine and produce hormones that were needed.
So they were looking to see if iodine was causing like low hormone production.
No, they were looking to see if Down syndrome was causing the thyroid to not synthesize iodine to cause the hormones needed.
What is iodine in?
I don't
Is
know.
iodine commonly used in something?
Iodine's a medical.
I know, but I mean, is it like in stuff that people would be ingesting where it's something that they'd be worried about?
Some stuff. I don't know what, but there's small amounts. You don't need a lot of iodine, but there's some.
Okay.
8.
So what would make boys want to join the science club? You did say it's boys.
Boys.
I haven't heard you say any. I don't. Have you mentioned females? Students or
This
patients?
would be for the Down syndrome study.
Hmm.
There was females, but it was
There
mainly
were females for the Down syndrome.
yeah, but it was
Then why is
mainly
the question? Why would boys want to join?
because that's the primary focus of the science club was the boys
Why?
because they're the ones with the largest test group.
Oh, okay. There's just more of them.
Yeah.
You get a more statistically significant sample
Yeah.
using boys. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's because they have plenty of them.
Yep. So why would they want to join? Well, I'm glad you asked.
I did ask.
The boys were promised and given more food, tickets to Red Sox games, going off campus, going to MIT functions, dances, etc. Many of the boys tried to use this as a way to get an adult that was not part of the facility to see the abuse they were subjected to and to do something about it. The scientists either did not notice or did not care because nothing was done about the abuse.
So, what happened with these studies? Did they ever turn up any interesting or useful results? Or was it all a bunch of anus?
It was not all a bunch of anus. I can tell you that one.
Because this sounds like we're talking about MIT, which is the Institute
Mm-hmm.
in Fallout. Remember Fallout 4?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't? Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to that part.
You remember we visit the Institute with Father?
Yeah?
That's MIT.
Oh, I didn't know that.
After the war, MIT literally just burrows underground and they keep doing their research.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they're conducting experiments. And some of their experiments are like, let's build a human-like robot that will eventually just freak out and kill a bunch of people and just send it into human society up above and just see what happens.
Yeah, pretty on par for this shit,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
they're just like, hey, let's stick iodine in people and just see what happens. Or how do we tell, like nowadays they would do, I'm talking off the top of my head and my chemistry knowledge is lacking, but they'd probably feed Quaker Oats and the competitor thing to pigs over the period of years. And then when those pigs are slaughtered, they would crush the bones and do like titrations to see what the composition is and how it's different between different feeding methods,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But back then, they're like, we don't have time for that.
Humans!
Let's feed these kids irradiated Quaker Oats.
Human! Okay, so did the studies ever show anything? Yes. It showed Quaker Oats had nothing to worry about because there was no decrease in absorption of iron and calcium from the phytate that was in the oats they used.
Yep.
It
Like,
also...
everybody's good
Yep.
in that respect. But all the boys now have 4 arms, like Machamp, I think, the Pokemon. So you better get out of here.
No, it wouldn't affect them. It would affect their children. Because
Oh,
it would change the sperm. Yeah,
I wonder if that's why I'm different.
probably.
Because my dad was exposed to nuclear stuff in the military.
Yeah, it would affect sperm. That's why if you ever
Probably why I got a big ass head.
if you ever had to get a pelvic x-ray, they would give you lead to cover your genitals with cuz it can change your sperm and the way your sperm's produced. So the studies also showed how calcium was absorbed into the bones and would further the study into osteoporosis. So some good was done. With iodine studies, it showed the metabolism of iodine was similar to the parents without Down syndrome and
So no real difference.
no real difference between them. It also showed how iron was metabolized and put into the blood, and because iron is part of red blood cells. When you have an iron deficiency, you have anemia, which means lack of red blood cells.
Mm-hmm. If you had a monkey's paw and you could make a wish, would you wish to be super intelligent or like have Down syndrome?
Down syndrome.
I think so too, yeah. I've never met
Yeah.
anybody really smart who was happy
I know.
and mentally stable.
Yeah.
But
And
I've
they all
never met.
seem so happy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I just want to be that happy.
I mean, yeah. Were there any apologies from the Institute for these
kind of.
experiments?
Kind of.
And did the experiments cause any long-term harm?
I'm gonna get into that. You're
Am I skipping ahead?
skipping ahead. It's in the same question,
Okay.
but you're skipping ahead. Hold on, bro. Did they apologize? Kind of. They apologized for the part they played in, but they shifted the blame to Fernald State School because they were under the impression consent was already gotten. So you should still check if consent was given.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't just be like, oh, they said consent was gotten. Aces.
But at the same time, why would you assume that what seemed to be a reputable state institution would not do that and would lie?
Yeah.
But yeah, that should just be the law across the board. There was this law, I don't know if it went into effect or not. I assume it did. Because remember, we went from this period where you could use either the magnetic strip on your credit card, the chip, or tap, or like Android Pay or whatever, or Apple Pay. Because there were so many hacks and data leaks and cards being compromised and it was costing so much money, there was a law that was proposed. Again, don't know if it was implemented, but the idea was whoever has the worst security in that chain of custody is responsible. So like everybody can be held, anybody in that chain can be held legally and financially responsible for whatever happens if you knowingly had bad security. Because a
Yeah.
lot of these stores were storing your credit card information in plain text. They were in these databases. That's how they were getting hacked, and that's how the data was getting leaked. Somebody was getting access to the system, finding these files, posting them somewhere online where you probably need a Tor browser to get to, and that's it. I mean, people would just sell. Should I be telling how this stuff works? Maybe I shouldn't be, but there are methods for selling and using these credit card numbers that if you've done any any research online will tell you how this stuff works and why you're at risk and why you don't necessarily get hit if your information is leaked. But the whole thing was, okay, if you're knowingly making people use the magnetic strip, which is not very secure, you can now be held financially responsible for this. If you, the stores, are keeping this in plain text or retaining it at all when you don't need to, you're responsible.
Like Walmart. Walmart makes you use the actual card.
Right, yeah. Walmart doesn't let you use Apple Pay or Android Pay or Google Pay or whatever. Google is the first one and they've changed their name like 5 times.
Yeah.
Google would be so much better off if they quit changing their name all the time.
And quit stopping stuff.
Yeah. Like when we were first, did we use Google Chat?
Yes.
Or not Google, was it Google Chat? Hangouts.
Hangouts, yeah.
Where it was perfect.
Yeah.
It would tell you
if it was sent, if it was read.
Yeah, it would give you read receipts. It would give you delivery receipts. It would tell you if the person was responding to you on a computer or on a phone. It would show a little icon if that person was on the phone, so you'd know, hey, they're not responding because they're on a call right now. And then Google decided, no, that's too good. Let's separate these out into different apps and get rid of half of that functionality. But anyway, yeah, I think that they should follow a similar thing with this. Everybody can be held responsible. Everybody has to verify because everybody can be held responsible when there's an experiment like this and things go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, no, we didn't know it was the State Institute doing it. No, MIT, you're legally responsible as well. So you need to get in there and verify too.
Well, they did have to pay.
But you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, it should be just a standard that regardless of who's doing the experiment versus funding it, whatever, like your asses are all on the line, so you better make sure you have your ducks in a row.
Well, they all had to pay a settlement.
That's good.
All 3 of them.
That's good.
So MIT also basically said no harm, no foul. The radiation administered was not large enough to cause any real damage, and there was no instances of these patients becoming sick or harmed, so they did everything they were supposed to do. That's basically what they said.
Yeah, they said it's non-ionizing.
They were like,
not enough of it.
Sorry, but we didn't hurt you. And Fernald School said that they got consent, so it's not really our fault. But they still had to pay a settlement.
That's good. The court said, no, it's still a little bit your fault.
Yeah.
So, what about Quaker Oats?
No. I am never eating Quaker Oats ever again.
I don't think I've ever eaten Quaker Oats.
Almost all oatmeal now is Quaker Oats
Oh, so
or
when we
General
go to,
Mills.
like,
Yeah.
that cafe here and I
Yeah.
get the oatmeal, it's probably Quaker Oats.
Quaker Oats or oatmeal or General Mills. Yeah. I'm going
Is
to have to
General
start.
Mills bad?
Not that I know of.
Or at least not for this particular reason?
Not for this particular reason. So they never they never acknowledged.
Acknowledged. I love it.
They never acknowledged that it ever happened.
I love it. Acknowledged. Oh, God, that's so good. Oh, you should sell that to McKinsey or some kind of consulting firm. We're going to just acknowledge it. Brush it under the rug.
The closest they came to acknowledgement was when they paid a settlement to the victims of the experiment when Quaker Oats was sued.
How about the state?
Yes.
The state apologized?
The state apologized.
They said, our dang.
Yeah, the state
Sorry
was...
we irradiated your children.
Yeah, the state was the only one who wholeheartedly apologized to the victims. They also...
Victims or to the victims' families?
To the victims. Because the victim families were dead by the time they were sued.
Oh, well, this was way later?
This was way later. This was like in 2000s.
And this shit was happening in like the...
40s and 50s.
Okay.
Because they didn't know. They didn't know what was happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
They just knew that they got more
How
breakfast.
did it come to light?
They got their records.
The records were somehow released?
Yeah. They asked for their records from the state school, and they found out that they were part of a medical experiment that they didn't know about.
And they're like, that's why my son Blinky has 3 eyes?
Yeah. But they also had to pay a settlement, and they also paid the largest settlement.
Generous. I hope it actually was generous. I hope it's not just like, here's $5,000, go away.
It was, I mean, it was a class action lawsuit, but
So it's probably not great.
each one pooled in millions into this class action lawsuit. So
Okay.
each person who is at least alive that was part of this experiment
A decent amount.
got a decent amount. Yeah.
That's good.
Last and not least.
I wonder how many of these people were like high-level executives somewhere, because none of them were actually mentally challenged or anything.
None of them. Because by the time they were released, they were adults with no schooling.
Oh, so what would they do?
They would just work at like Walmart or something.
I mean, you need to be relatively intelligent to work at Walmart. I know we, like, on average, people talk about, like, unskilled stuff where you don't need specialized training, but you still have to be pretty intelligent to
Well, they're intelligent enough.
work at, like, a restaurant or a store.
They're intelligent enough to get
But I
training.
guess that's the point. They have raw intelligence, but they don't have training.
So they don't
can learn how
have-
to...
Yeah, they weren't able to go to college.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
But they can learn to work at a store. They can learn to, like, cook food and,
yeah.
like, make stuff and package things.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, I mean, out of all the jobs I've had, Jack in the Box is the one that I both kind of miss the most and would never go back to. I mean, partially nostalgic because it was my first job and it was just really fun working overnight with some of the people I worked with, but it was also really hard, right?
Dealing with people is really hard.
I mean, there was 1 week where I was in 4 different cities within 1 week for work, doing site visits and off-site meetings and stuff like that. I would rather do that than work a busy Friday night at Jack in the Box.
Yeah. I get it.
Or when the fire department calls in, we need 350 tacos in an hour. Okay. And then, oh my God. Okay, I'm not going to get into it. So, you have something in these notes about sending out letters from the school?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So the school actually did send out letters to parents.
About the experiments?
Yeah. So I have copied an actual letter that was sent to a parent. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Dear parent, so personable,
Dear
right?
insert name here.
Yeah. So personable.
It's almost as good as when, I'm sure you've seen instances of this where people put it into ChatGPT and they copy I've seen like scans of yearbooks where this happened, where it'll say the class of 2025 is blah, 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 and all this and that. Let me know if there's anything else you need and have a great time editing this yearbook, because they forget to remove the end little follow-up from the AI.
Yeah. Dear parent, in previous years, we have done some examinations in the connection with Nutritional Department of Massachusetts Institute of Technology with the purpose of helping to improve the nutrition of our children and to help, it says them. It's them. In
Them?
general,
Like
them, THIM. Yeah.
Okay.
in general more efficiently than before. Wow, he was dumb. For the checking up of the children, we occasionally need to take some blood samples, which are then analyzed. The blood samples are taken after one test meal containing a certain amount of calcium. We have asked for volunteers to give sample blood once a month for 3 months, and your son has agreed to volunteer because the who belong
Huh? You want me to read it?
volunteer. No, I'm reading it the way
Aw.
he wrote it.
But I want to read it.
Agreed to volunteer to belong to the science club. Oh, and your son has agreed to volunteer because who belong to the science club have many additional privileges.
So he's missing a word.
Yeah,
Those who belong to the science club have additional privileges.
yeah, but it says the who belong.
Yeah.
They get a quart of milk daily during that time and are taken to a baseball game, to the beach, and to some outside dinners, and they enjoy it greatly. I hope you have no objections that your son is voluntarily participating in this study. The first study will start Monday, June 8th, and if you have not expressed any objections, we will assume that your son will participate. Sincerely yours, Clemens E. Benz, MD, Clinical Director. Nowhere in that letter does it say radiation.
Yep. We're going to give them some calcium. They're going to get some milk. They're going to get to go to some baseball games and go to the beach.
Yeah. If I was a parent and I got that, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Sweet.
Check. Now, if I ever got that from a school, I'd be like, okay, what's the experiment?
Right. We're going to take your daughter to, Bush Stadium for a game. Then we're going to go to the City Museum, which anybody not in St. Louis, look up the St. Louis City Museum. It's not what you think it is. So they can play and climb and do all this stuff. And we'll be like, okay, sounds great. Cool. Sign off on it 10 years later. We informed you of the experiments and the radiation we were putting in your child. What?
You said, huh?
Yeah, we had them climb through the irradiated tubes at the City Museum that we had put in there. We told you we were going there.
Yeah.
I mean, they told them the calcium. They just skipped the important additive.
Yep. Okay. Now we're going to patient experiences. This is more of the heavy stuff that really made it really hard to continue doing the research into this school.
Yeah.
Because it is just fucked up.
So what's the age range of kids at this school? Is it all ages?
Newborn to
Everything up to like 21
90.
or what you said?
No, newborn to 90. Remember they had to accommodate for adults?
Yeah, so they just never got out.
Nope. Never ever until it closed.
Okay.
From the 1920s to the 1970s, if you entered the school, you are most likely only leaving in a body bag. There were a select few that were ever discharged, but that was somewhere around 100 in that time frame. About 100.
How many, what was the population? Do we know how many people went through it or what they were supposed to have at any given time?
Do you want to know all the population through the years?
Sure. Do we know what the capacity was
The capacity was around 2,000.
the whole time?
Yeah.
Even when they had
Well-
like 70 buildings?
When they had 70 buildings, it was around 2,000. When it was just the one singular building for the original school, it was like 50.
Okay. Yeah.
So when the school was built, so 1848 to 1880s, it was a small amount, so around 50.
But this was when it was in like South Boston?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was greatly restricted. 1889, this was after it moved. 142 patients. 1911, 494 patients. 1925 to 1926 was 1,330 patients. Now remember, they're building more
Right.
buildings to accommodate the more people.
So they're not necessarily overcrowded yet, or at least not as bad as some of the others.
They're severely overcrowded, but they're building buildings, which takes years to build.
Right.
1949, 1,890 patients. 1960s is when they get to their peak population with no extra buildings. 2,500 to 2,600, somewhere in that range. 1979, 1,161 patients. 1987, 855 patients. 2001, 320. 2007, 185. 2013, 13. 2014, 0.
That is wild that it lasted that long.
Yeah. It got close to that 200-year mark. Back to the experiences. The reason for this, besides the use of institutionalization to keep the defectives off the street, was because they needed higher functioning patients to care for the facility and other patients. In 1940, Superintendent Green was asked why there weren't many patients discharged as before, and his response was he needed the higher functioning morons to care for the facility. Many of the patients that were at the state school were in foster care and were to be signed up for school, but they would be told not to come back after 3 to 6 weeks of being in said school, with the explanation of the child not being a true resident of the town and or they needed specialized care the school was not able to give. When this happened and the foster parent was not able to care for the child anymore, said child would be given an IQ test to see if they needed to be institutionalized. With no schooling, probably going to fail the test. Many of the children never passed the test because they never had any schooling that would give them more of an advantage. In the state school, you had 4 groups: homeboys, state boys, homegirls, and state girls. The homeboys and girls had families that would come to see them and send them gifts and letters. The state boys and girls were from foster care or their family died and would never have family come.
Mm-hmm.
There was a difference in the clothes and treatments from these 4 groups. The homeboys and girls would have clothes sent in from the family and they would get better treatment because the school did not want the family to know how bad the treatment was. The state boys and girls got abused, were more underfed, more hard labor jobs, and the clothes consisted of a plain shirt, denim overalls, black socks, and black shoes. These children that would be dressed this way would be called lifers, which was a slang term they used, because there was nobody on the outside that would fight for them to get out. The bathroom would be an open room with sinks, showers, and toilets with no dividers to separate or block views.
Mm-hmm.
These children would go to the bathroom in groups of 5 to 10, and there would be an attendant to watch them the whole time. Male attendants for males, female attendants for females. The children were expected to stay quiet at all times with the exception of school. If you made any noise, then you would be punished in some way. The only stimulation the children got was school or work. You would have to sit on a hard metal
Mm-hmm.
hard metal bench.
A hard mental bench.
Yeah. The children called setties for hours on end with nothing to do. There was a strict schedule to follow. On the days school was in session, which was 3 days a week, you would wake up at 6 a.m., use the potty in your group, go to breakfast, go to school, eat lunch, do your work or your chores, eat dinner, then rest for about an hour in complete silence before bed. On days there was no school, the children would have to do the same schedule, but instead of school, they would just have to sit in the common area being quiet with no interaction until it was time for lunch.
Could they read? Was there anything to do for any entertainment?
Nope.
Just sit and stare off into space?
The breakfast the patients got every day consisted of bland oatmeal, toast, and milk. Lunch and dinner was some sort of tasteless slop. If one boy in a group acted out or annoyed an attendant, then the whole group got punished. The only kindness the children got consistently was the teachers. This was also the only time the children were able to interact with each other without punishment. There were some attendants that were not as mean, but it did not mean they were kind either. There are many cases of boys and girls that would be used by the staff for sex. Children.
Mm-hmm.
The teenagers were able to be manipulated into having sex with the adults. So, do it with me, otherwise you're not going on this field trip. Do it with me, otherwise you're going to go into solitary confinement.
There's no positive manipulation, no do this and I'll reward you?
No.
Or I'm going to trick you?
I
guess it doesn't really make any difference.
My laptop's time's wrong. It says it's 9:36, but that says it's 11:05.
Yep.
Well, the children used it as sexual release.
Right, but
that's the only reward they got. There's no I'll give you this if you have sex with me.
Okay, but you're saying they manipulated them. I'm thinking tricking them, grooming them, the kind of things we read about now.
Well, they did that too.
But some of the kids were probably just some of them might have been well, this might as well happen.
Yeah. There's stories of that. There's stories of that.
Well, and you were saying, I don't even want to talk about it. I feel like I'm trying to justify it, but I'm really not. But I'm thinking about, you're saying some of these people are there for their whole lives. They would have had no opportunities to have experiences like that
Yeah.
because they're not allowed to interact with each other.
Yep.
The only possibility they have in any kind of meaningful interpersonal relationship might be with caretakers.
Yeah.
I would like to think that there's at least one story of like, there's this caretaker, she's like 30, there's a patient, he's like 30, he's a little dim.
Relationships
She's
evolved like
very
that.
sweet.
Yeah.
They have this like close friendship.
Yeah.
Like somewhere along there, I'd like there to be like a nice bond between somebody, not just all abusive, manipulative, and exploitative.
Between attendants and the children, that's how it was.
What was
But
the?
between patients, sometimes they would sneak off and have a relationship.
Do we know what the ratio of children to adults was as far as the patient population? Because you're saying it started as a school, but it turned into a thing where they housed people of all ages, and a lot of those students never left.
I have no idea. All I know is the patient population.
Okay.
So, this is the story that really made me stop reading the book that I mentioned.
Oh, God.
So, this teenager named Larry Nutt was approached by a male attendant and two big shots. Big shots were bigger, older male patients, usually teenagers, like 17, who bullied other patients. The attendant pulled Larry into the trees, demanded oral sex, while two big shots stood watch, or he would take away the trip the boy got from the science club. The boy says that he doesn't remember the attendant's name, doesn't remember the big shot's name or anything, but he remembers the experience from the feel of the wet soil seeping into his pants and soaking his knees, to the way he gagged, to the sounds the attendants made. He can remember all of that.
God.
It was horrifying. He was like 13.
Yeah.
A 13-year-old. An adult did this too. Like anybody with children, anybody who cares about children would be disgusted by this.
Yeah.
This is only one case of the way the staff would exploit sex from the children. Many of the children's families stopped coming because the staff would discourage the visit, or the family would turn them away. There's
The
this,
family would turn them away?
the staff would turn them
Would
away.
turn the family. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a story of this lady whose son was in an accident, didn't know if he was going to make it, made a promise to God that she would do whatever she could for any child that was in need of help as long as he saved her son. Her son lived, so she came to Fernald State School and told the staff, I want to visit with and have family time with the student who needs family the most, basically.
Mm.
So they brought out a student completely covered in urine because they didn't change the clothes of these patients. He had to use either a wheelchair or crutches to walk because he has spina bifida pretty bad.
Which is?
Your spinal cord covering, the sheath, doesn't
Mm.
close all the way, so your spinal cord's exposed and it causes limb immobility.
Mm.
Some, it's just like a little limp because
Right.
your legs don't work right.
Right.
Your legs are paralyzed or your whole body's paralyzed. But you're still mentally there.
Right.
So they brought this kid completely covered in urine, filthy. And they're like, here you go. They thought they were going to scare her off. She ran up, gave the kid a hug, and came back every time there was a family day. And she was so kind to these children and listened to these children talk that she had a bunch of children gather around her. That's the only happy story I've ever found
Mm.
in that book.
So how common was this abuse? I mean, were all of them getting it, or was it just?
Everybody was getting the abuse.
It was just fairly. I
Yeah.
mean, even the sexual stuff,
Yeah. Not to like children under 10.
but it was fairly common in some form or another.
Every day. One child would have it every day.
Right.
Like one child, but different children every day.
Right.
Or adults. But the book I read focused mainly on children.
Hmm.
It was fucked up. Many of the big shots, which I told you the term earlier, would make younger or weaker boys perform sex acts in exchange for protection. The term for the big shots was night crawlers because they would crawl into the younger boy's bed at night, threaten them into silence before teaching the younger boy how to masturbate and give oral sex. That's when I stopped reading the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't take it anymore.
I'm glad you stopped because I'm ready to be done too. I hope this means we're done.
Almost.
Oh,
Almost. I stopped reading the book, but I used the like the word finder.
oh yeah, you were searching key terms.
Yeah. Cuz I wanted to kind of give you a list of the abuse
Oh,
that
oh,
happened to these
well,
children.
thank you. I would have been so disappointed if we didn't get more.
So, documented abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Hit in the head with objects.
Mm-hmm.
Red cherries.
What's that?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh God.
Children would be smacked on the bare ass, so they would have to pull the pants and underwear down, with a hard object, usually a wooden hanger. Name,
Like a coat hanger.
yeah.
Okay.
Name came from the welt that would form.
Well,
It looked like a red cherry.
That's what I thought immediately after I was stupid enough to ask.
Hitting and yanking boys' balls,
Oh God.
usually in a group punishment.
Yeah.
Kneeling on metal bed frames for hours. Drugged, denied clothing, solitary confinement, rape, sexual harassment, restraining, shaving hair, beatings, lobotomies. You thought you missed that one. Nope, here too. ECTs, hydrotherapy, and insulin coma therapy. ECT is electroconvulsive therapy,
Right.
if this is your first episode.
Hmm.
That is...
Did this stuff not happen in Europe? Was America the only one that was awful like this?
Oh, no.
Or was it just that where you have an environment with a lot of people who are easy to victimize, it attracts people who will prey on them?
That one.
Okay.
It happened in Europe, too.
Because it's like the same thing. I want to avoid being political, but I feel like it's the same thing like with communism. You know, we have a friend who's really into communism.
Yeah.
And I've had this argument with her a ton of times that the idea is great. The idea that you give according to your ability, you take according to your need, like that core concept is great. And the core idea of like the state will take care of these kids who need help is fine. But it seems like in every case where communism has ever been used, it's corrupted.
Yeah.
Because you take the control away from these big companies and these rich individuals and you consolidate it even further into a government, and that just attracts the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
To be in control of everything and enrich themselves even more explicitly at the expense of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, a corrupt company can only do so much. They can overcharge you for things, but you can stop buying from them.
Yeah.
But when the government controls it all, you really have no choice, and it's worse.
Yeah. And as we
And
have
I just
seen...
feel like that's the thing that happens. Like communism as an idea is great. The people are the problem because you basically can't keep bad people out of it.
Yeah.
And with these state schools, it's the same kind of
When the state
thing.
takes
Like,
over.
It's one of these things where you create an environment that is just perfect for a monster.
Yeah.
Or a group
Yeah.
of monsters.
And they were hiring so many people that they didn't do any checks with anybody.
Yeah.
So you would have
I know.
murderers and rapists and everything working here because this was the only place that they could get a job.
And I don't understand why working with people with mental disorders is such a low, I don't know how to phrase it, like a low priority or considered a low class occupation. They're not paid well for it.
No, nobody in the medical field is paid for what they should be.
I mean, our buddy, you know, sometimes he's just taking them in bowling and stuff like that, but he's still hurting a group of kids, which is not easy.
No.
Regardless of intelligence or, you know, abilities, it's not easy to keep a bunch of kids on task.
No.
But still, it just seems, I don't understand a lot of this stuff. Remember we had kiddo in daycare. It's like $1,400 a month.
Yeah.
And there's tons of kids, but still all of the, like half the workers there don't speak English. They're probably being paid minimum wage or less and under the table, like anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Where is the money going? I don't understand.
To the top.
Yeah, just none of it it's all... Well, thanks for listening to me discover how the world works in real time and have a little crash out.
Yeah. So before we close out, I usually tell you the names of these schools and how they change, or like the asylums and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the 4 names that it had,
Okay.
including the state that I can't say. Massachusetts School for Idiotic and Feeble-Minded.
You just can't hit the T's at the end. Massachusetts.
Yeah, I can't say it. 1848.
Try saying massive two shits.
Massachusetts
Hey.
School for the Feeble-Minded, 1880. Walter E. Fernald State School, 1925. Walter E. Fernald Developmental Center, 1990. And that's the name that it closed with.
And it did not continue as anything else.
No, it was torn down and changed into a rec center.
The whole 70 building campus?
The whole 70 building campus.
How do you make a rec center that covers that? Or it's just a big campus with the one rec center on it?
All the building, as far as I know, some of the land was used as the rec center. Others were used for like homes and stuff.
Okay.
Like the city
So a
closed
portion
around
of it was used
yeah.
for, okay.
Yeah. But it was all torn down.
Good. That's horrific.
Yeah.
It really makes me want to adopt.
Me too.
But then again, I don't understand that either. I feel like I see politicians saying that there are thousands of children in orphanages, yet we have friends who tried for years to adopt, right? And we're only just recently able to.
Well, that's because instead of
They were fostering instead of going to an adoption agency.
the DCFS convinced our friends to foster instead of adopt, because you would only have to keep them for 6 months before you can do the adoption process, which would be free for you, instead of paying a bunch of money to adopt. But it took them years to get to a child who was not going to be given back to the family.
Yeah, I just don't understand that disconnect, because I've heard before how hard it is to adopt. So is it that there's a glut of kids that are out there for adoption, or are there not, and that's why it's so hard?
There is.
So it's both. They have a bunch of kids that they want to adopt out, but they also make the process extremely difficult,
And expensive.
restrictive, and expensive. So it's impractical to actually do.
Yeah, which is why a bunch of these families are getting children from different countries. They're
Yeah.
adopting children from different countries because it's easier,
Yeah.
which is fucked up. We have a bunch of children that are in foster homes that are not
The
good.
American-made children are too expensive, man.
Yeah, American-made anything is too expensive, but it's better. Or it's supposed to be. I kind of want to hit on something else that kind of made me want to stop reading the book. It was the very beginning of it. It's not anything to do with children.
Okay.
There was a little fact in the beginning of the book that was verified that makes me kind of want to stop being American, kind of want to move to a different country. So basically, when the eugenics movement started in like the 1910s, we gave that idea to Hitler.
I have read that it was also American scientists or economists who gave the one-child policy to China.
That I can understand.
It was like
But they go around
like that idea was based on sort of a throwaway conversation between some scientists who were at some kind of like international meetup. They were just talking population control, and I think some American scientist was like, well, with the kind of control the CCP has, you could just limit everybody to one child per family until you get down to whatever your goal population is.
But
a generation or two.
Heard, I don't know how true it is, that if the family would have a female, they would just kill the baby and try
they
it
all
on.
wanted boys to
Carry on the name.
continue the family line or whatever.
But where the
or
guards
be
come
more
from.
useful for work or something like that.
But yeah, so I went through a
It's probably pretty. If you're a girl in China, it might be all right. You know what I mean? You got your pick.
Yeah.
I have read online, for whatever that's worth, that there are girls who have 2 or 3 boyfriends. Like, nope, can't go out with you Thursday. I'm on a date with this guy on that day.
Yeah.
So
you're the only female.
Yeah, in the one way, a little bit exhausting. Not a lot of me time.
Yeah.
But
I don't have a lot of me time with you either.
3 anniversaries a year.
That'd be
20
great.
dates. I know, you're going for it. You're going for all these anniversaries because we still celebrate everything.
We still celebrate our dating anniversary.
Anyway, the eugenics movement, we gave that to the Nazis.
Yeah, so there's one physician who wrote a book about it and how we need to protect our gene pool and the race, like our race. And Hitler read the book because it was nationwide, so it was translated in a bunch of different languages. Why? I don't know. And he wrote to this physician and told him that it was his Bible.
Yeah.
that he read it every night, and it was his Bible. And these scientists and these physicians went over to Nazi Germany and met with Hitler and talked about eugenics.
Mm.
So I had I don't know what you would call it, a personality crisis, I guess.
Identity crisis?
Yeah. And I just went down this rabbit hole of just thinking, if it wasn't for us giving that to Hitler, would we have ever had World War II?
Yeah.
But think about it. He got the idea of getting rid of the Jews from
I don't think
us.
so. He didn't get the idea of getting rid of the Jews from a eugenics thing. From my reading of it, he wanted to, I mean, it's a fairly common tactic in politics to identify a problem with society and then find a group to blame and say that you're the one that's going to go fix it. In Germany, and actually a lot of countries, there are a disproportionate number of high positions occupied by Jews. Jews tend to occupy like high level and influential positions in companies at a rate that doesn't make sense for their population size. Am I communicating that clearly? Like
Yes.
they're a tiny portion of the population, but a lot of CEOs, CFOs, whatever, high level people are Jews. And that's what Hitler was kind of going after. He's like, look, our country, things are going wrong. Look at all of our big companies. They're controlled by Jews. So this is the group we're going to go after. And I think they would have done that regardless of the genetic thing.
Yeah, but our book was talking about protecting our race and religion, which was his Bible. It's just a rabbit hole.
I mean, it might have been different, but I don't think it would have actually stopped it if that hadn't existed.
But it put a little seed in my brain.
Yeah.
And the part that really gave me the identity crisis, America did not acknowledge that this happened.
Well,
They
can America as a country acknowledge and apologize for the actions of a few academics?
It was a movement across all of America.
Well, I guess that's true. I'm thinking the few guys who wrote the book and gave the idea, but you're right, they were doing it in institutions.
Yeah, America didn't even apologize. The government, where presidents acknowledged, accepted, and promoted eugenics, never apologized to the people. To our people, they never apologized. The states did, but the American government did not.
Yeah. So are we done?
Yep, that's our rant. Thanks for joining.
All right.
I think there's 2 more schools and then we're done with the season.
Oh, thank God. I thought are we gonna get into more like traditional medical crime stuff at some point, away from the institutions?
Yeah, the next season we're gonna go into
like Angels of Death and stuff like that?
No, we're gonna go into, I think, sanatoriums next.
Oh, good.
But after that, we're gonna go into medical crimes.
Okay.
Like this is a medical crime.
Yeah, I know, but
each season is gonna have its own theme. So we're gonna do Angels of Death. We're gonna do like Angels of Death are typically nurses, and then you'll have like physicians and stuff. I might potentially do physicians who commit crimes outside of the hospital or medical setting. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But we'll eventually get into that.
All right. Well, that sounds interesting to you. Subscribe, comment, leave a rating, whatever it is you can do. We appreciate all of it. Bye.
Bye.